Hi everyone, it's Pete from Embrace here and welcome to today's video. So, for those that don't know me, I've been investing in property now for 13 years, and since then I've actually built my own property portfolio where I was able to go full time into property in 2009. And I've also set up multiple property businesses, including Embrace, which is actually the lettings and sourcing arm of our business. And so I'm actually at one of my properties today, and I've come here because I've actually come in to do a sort of spot check where you've probably heard me speak about in other videos how there's a team behind me at Embrace that actually let and manage my properties. But every now and then, especially when tenants move out, which is what's happened now at this point, I like to come in and just see the property because I'm not involved day to day, so I'm able to see it today before the next tenant goes in. And it's actually tying in quite nicely with today's video. So yes, you have seen the title right. I am comparing a £3 coffee to a £120,000 terraced house, but if you stick with me till the end, then you'll understand why. Because it's all about how little savings can really yield big results, certainly in the early days. So I get a lot of investors say to me, especially who are new, sometimes it's, well, I can't really invest in property, I haven't got the funds, or I've got the money for the deposit, but I just can't get the money together for the refurb. And that was the situation I was in at the start. And as people that have watched this channel before will know, we're all about giving sort of real, honest information and giving real facts on things that we've done. And we'll never say anything that we haven't personally done ourselves. There's too much sales out there, in my opinion. It's too hypey about how easy everything is. So today's video, like I say, is really about looking at your savings, looking at your sort of personal balance sheet and how that can help you invest. So hopefully that'll be really useful to you, and if it is, then if you wouldn't mind, like I say, liking it, that helps us out with the channel and helps hopefully more people see the videos and more people benefit from that. So I'm actually on the way back to the office now, so we're going to go back there and run through the numbers on how small savings can really yield big results. So in my case, how cutting down on the coffee at the time allowed me to actually purchase this house. Okay, so before people think that I've gone completely mad comparing a coffee to a two-bed terraced house, I just wanted to bring you to this sheet so it'll all start to make sense now, because this is all about the personal balance sheet side of things. So even now, today, I still regularly do this where I look at my outgoings, but certainly at the start of my career, it was really important. And so one of the things I thought, and this is different for different people, so for other people it could be cutting down in a different area, but for me, I just found that at the start, I was going to a lot of coffee shops because I didn't have an office. And when I had meetings with people and they needed to meet there, then that was fine. But I just found myself getting into a habit of going there most days, really. And actually, when I looked at what I was spending, so we've got at the top of the screen here, at the time, the sort of average coffee was like £2.99. And so I was probably buying two of those a day, which, as you can see from the screen, is then £6 per day, which, when I was going 4 days a week, you're looking at nearly there £24 per week and, in excess of £95 a month. So I actually thought, well, I'm looking to purchase this property. I haven't got the money for the refurbishment. So I really looked at my personal balance sheet, and it's a really good exercise to do. And there's actually one in the description below. So you'll be able to, you can get lots of different examples on the internet anyway. But if you do want an example of a personal balance sheet, like I say, there's one in the description below. And so it made me think, well, actually, if I'm spending this money here, just out of interest, I priced up the property on the refurbishment. And for those that have worked with us or done any of our trainings in the past, they'll know we talk about obviously getting refurbishment quotes, getting more than one, but making sure that you're really as exact as you can be. And I found that this particular property then was going to cost about £4,000 to refurbish, and I actually got that money on a loan at the time and paid about 5%. So, this could be less now with rates being so low. I've got a friend who's recently loaned 10,000 and they got 3.5%, but that was what I paid back then, so the 5%. So that was about £200 per year per annum in interest, which is roughly about £16.66 per month. So the loan was actually over 5 years. And I took it out over that, knowing that, I planned to refinance the property, and I could obviously then, I could pay that money back without any penalties. So obviously, if you are going to look at sort of personal loan, you'll want to check things like that. And so I was actually, you'll actually have to pay off the capital off the loan on the personal interest as well. So it was over 5 years that I took that out. So, roughly about £800 a year, which was then, I was paying about £69 per month off the capital of the loan. So in total, what I was paying was about £86 a month. Another way I've done this in the past, though, is, with family and friends, where I've sort of lent money, a few thousand off them if they've got money spare. Because, as we know, rates being so low over the last 10 years or more is, people have been getting obviously zero in the bank. So in the past, and I can think of another time when it was just a few thousand that one of my friends had sort of saved up, and they were at the time sort of talking about the fact they were getting no interest in the bank, and we were actually going on holiday together, and I said the holiday was going to be around the £500 mark, and I actually said, well, if you can lend me that money, then I'd be able to pay you, most of the holiday for you. So it was, the interest they were getting on that over the year was over 10%, but I was happy to do that because that allowed me to buy the property, and all I was paying them was sort of the interest on that. So for argument's sake, I paid them £300 to lend that £3,000. Then, that was actually like £25 a month I was paying them. And, obviously once I'd refinanced the property, I'd pay them back. And so it worked for both parties. So they got a really good interest, and I was actually only having to pay a small amount because there was no capital to pay back until I'd refinanced the property or was in a position to do so. But with a personal loan, it works differently, the ones that I've taken, and you've actually have to pay the capital back as well. So you just have to take that into consideration. But in total, back then for the £4,000 that I was lending, it was around £86 a month. So as you can see, by just cutting down on the expense above, the coffee expense, it allowed me to lend that money because I was saving sort of £95 a month just by making that small saving from actually cut down on the expense. I didn't actually really miss it. And that then gave me that money to pay the £86 a month. And so I was then buying, instead of just buying coffee and getting nothing for it, I was then actually buying an asset which would then appreciate in value and give me a monthly cash flow as well. So that was really important, taught me that, that little saving could really sort of yield a big result. So we'll just go through the figures for this particular property then. So the purchase price at the time was $76,500. And the original mortgage I took out was 80% of that. So it was $61,200 or around there that I was loaning. So as we see, the refurbishment was $4,000. Other costs such as legal fees, broker, were around $2,000. And this was before stamp duty. You had to pay that, the surcharge. So, total costs together were about $82,500. And then the total money that I put into it was $21,300. So the value after the refurbishment was, I always do my figures very conservatively. And so it was probably higher than this, but I knew comfortably it was $95,000. And I wasn't going to refinance it straight away, but I did then, I think it was about 18 months after that I actually refurbished the property. And then I went back to the bank, and then basically they allowed me to take a loan out at the higher amount. So after the refurbishment was done, it was worth 95. I could then get 80% of that, which was 76,000. So there's actually then 14,800 left over, which is the 76,000 there minus the original loan of 61,200. So therefore, after getting money back out of the property then, I was able to pay that money back, so I could pay the loan back and have some deposit left. So in the past, I've done other deals where I've been able to get all of the money back out, but this particular one just shows how the money I got back out, I could pay the loan back, money left over, and then as long as the property still cash flows after, which it did because I'd done the figures on that higher amount after I'd refurbed it, then you've got an asset there making you a monthly amount for years to come, as long as you keep the property, for very little money left in the deal. So, and it all started with that coffee saving, which had I not done, I would have not been able to purchase property because I would have just felt that I just didn't have the money for the refurbishment. So I hope you found the video useful then, and it's shown you how by making little savings you can actually yield big results, and that certainly worked for me, and it's worked for many other people I know as well when you do it in the right way. So like I say, I hope you found it useful today, and if you haven't subscribed already then please do so. Any comments please leave it below, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.